Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Friday, and this is your edition of From the Heart of a Woman. So, last week, it got a little rough. It got a little heavy. Talking about abandonment PTSD. And as promised, I said we'd probably talk about another of the 1, 2, 3, 4 types of wounds people carry forward from their childhood. Today, we're going to talk about trust. But I want to start it with an encouraging place. According to Mark chapter 7, it talks about healing. Healing belongs to us. And people sum it up in this saying. Now, this saying is not in scripture, but people sum it up with this saying. It says, healing is the children's bread. In this passage of scripture, the Messiah is talking to this woman who comes to him asking for help with her daughter that's vexed with demons. And she is not of the nation of Israel, to whom the Messiah was sent. And so he says, well, why should I give this to you? Because healing belongs to the children. We give this bread to the children, to the nation that I'm called to. Should I take this bread and give it to dogs? And the woman said, yea, master, I hear you. She said, I hear you. But don't the dogs get the crumbs that fall when the children eat from the table? Now, we, being his people, we're not going to get the crumbs. So healing is for us. We just have to decide we want it and access it. We've got to get from brokenness to healing. And healing is available. It's available. All right. So today we're going to talk about trust wounds. And I'm going to talk again about noted psychologist Erik Erikson. And in his psychosocial developmental theory, he states that, and yes, I'm reading my notes because this was deep again. He stated that infants' first challenge in life is developing trust. Now, from birth to that first year, they are learning trust. The questions that come to my mind that a child is asking of themselves, because I know you like children ask questions. Yeah. Will my caregiver feed me? Will they change me? Will they respond to my cries? Will they understand the communication in my cries? Is my caregiver consistent? Excuse me. Now, when we think about that, does it make sense that babies are maneuvering trust issues? And it's because of inconsistent parenting. And this creates a lack of trust, a mistrust. And so how do we get from broken to healing? First of all, let's look at some of what trust trauma causes. There are 3 main ways that trust trauma can manifest. 1, heightened reluctance to trust safe spaces, people, or things. 2, over-trusting people who have abused them or betrayed them in the past. And 3, persistent self-distrust. Yeah, so let's look at these a little bit. Okay, the first one, a reluctance to trust. This will manifest in, have you ever seen people just walk in a room and check a chair before they sit down? Or while they're eating, they smell every bite of their food or sniff a cup before they drink? In relationships, they are interrogating people who've not really proven to be distrustful, people who have proven their trustworthiness, and they interrogate them. These are some of the behaviors that you'll see. Some of them borderline on ridiculousness, because I get tickled when I see people sniffing their food. That don't make sense to me, especially if it's food they cooked. But I see people doing that. And some of it is totally, totally, totally maladaptive. And these maladaptive behaviors can sabotage relationships. Because we want to connect with other people. We do. We do. We do. Nobody wants to be alone. But even people who have gone through severe trust trauma have severe trust wounds. You would think they would just wall themselves off from people, but they don't. They don't. They don't. Second manifestation, over trusting people who have abused you. When we give people chance after chance, after chance, after chance, after chance, even though they've let us down, that's a problem. This stems from one of 4 attachment syndromes that develop in childhood with our caregivers. Now, let me give you those attachments. They are 4. Secure attachment, avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, and disorganized or anxious and avoidant attachment. With secure attachment, that person is low on avoidance, low on anxiety. They're comfortable with intimacy, not necessarily worried about rejection or preoccupied with the relationship. You know, these people are saying it's easy for me to get close with another person, or I am comfortable depending on them and having them depend on me. This person is saying, I'm not necessarily worried about being abandoned or having them get too close. That's secure attachment. Now, avoidant attachment. These people are high on avoidance, low on anxiety. These people are uncomfortable with closeness, and they value independence and freedom. Not necessarily worried about their partner's availability because they are uncomfortable being close with others. They find it difficult to trust and depend on other people and prefer that other people not depend on them. It's important that they feel independent and self-sufficient. And usually they end up with partners that want to be more intimate and close to them than they are comfortable being. That's a problem. That's avoidant attachment. Now, the third, anxious attachment. These people are low on avoidance, but high on anxiety. These people crave closeness and intimacy. They can be very clingy, ergo, very insecure in relationships. I want to be extremely emotionally close and merge and meld and gel with other people. But others are often reluctant to get really close to them. These people say, I often worry that my partner doesn't love me because they don't want to spend a lot of time with me. I'm afraid that they will abandon me. And my obsessive need for closeness can scare people away. Another problem. That's anxious attachment. And the last, anxious and avoidant. These people are high on avoidance and high on anxiety. These people are uncomfortable with intimacy and worry about their partner's commitment and love constantly. Uncomfortable getting close, but find it difficult to trust and depend on other people. Always worried about getting hurt if I get too close. But I want to get close, but if I get too close, they're going to hurt me. But I need to be around them. I need to be with them. But if I get too close, they're going to hurt me. Do you see how that's a problem? That's a problem. That's a problem. Now, a lot of this stems from relationships in childhood, but trauma can change attachment style even in adulthood, because that changes how we see our world. Now, this third manifestation, persistent distrust of self. This is where we're constantly doubting and second guessing our own feelings, our own thoughts, our own opinions, our own needs. We've been hurt and we dismiss it and we tell ourselves we're okay, but we're over here bad, bleeding, bruised, broken, and carrying our wounded selves into new situations. Then we're bleeding on other people. And when they try to help us or point out the wound, we're blaming them for our hurt. Please note that you cannot heal without touching a wound. This is naturally and spiritually and emotionally. You cannot heal until you touch that wound. Sometimes repair consists of deconstruction. So how do we get to healing? 1, we stay present. Stop living in the past. Stop talking about the people that hurt you. Stop talking about the people that betrayed you. Live in the now. This will help you distance yourself from the anxiety that we feel from past trauma. Thing number 2, forgive. Harboring the residuals from hurt relationships, hurt in past relationships, whether it's an ex, a sibling, a parent, a business partner, all of that allows resentment to seep into your current situations. We got to learn how to forgive because it's freeing. It will free us. Thing we can do, number 3, to get to healing. Stop repeating past patterns. You know, the breakup to makeup cycle. If you hold on to people who consistently break your trust and let you down, you learn a pattern that you will inevitably take into new relationships that can be detrimental to you when you finally have a good and beneficial situation. Stop reliving the past. Get out of those past patterns. Number 4, state your expectations and your standards. You need to know what you want, what you don't want, what you need, what you don't need. And don't be afraid to say those things out loud to this new person that's coming into your life. Once you get clear with yourself, you can clearly articulate these things to the new people in your life, to the old people in your life, because we don't really dump or get rid of parents and siblings, but I can state my expectations clearly. And when you break them, I can show you better than I can tell you about how I can distance myself. When you can be clear with your expectations, you open up space for trust. Thing number 5, let go of fear. People nowadays, we're walking around like a bunch of walled up cities. Us as people, because of past betrayal, we put up walls. But we desire good relationships. We desire affection. We desire love. But we have these walls up. And we say, well, he got to break through the wall. But they got their own walls up. And they're too busy building their building, in order to try to be working to break yours down. You need to be, and they think in their mind, you need to be trying to break down mine. Now, if you don't let the walls down, you won't let love in. Can't do it. I know we're afraid to run the risk of getting hurt. All of us are. But if we don't open ourselves up, which brings about the possibility for hurt, we miss out also on love. We miss out on joy. We miss out on affection. When we shut out the possibility of hurt, we shut out all the other things we want to. Will you get hurt if you let your walls down? Yes, it's highly probable. But using these 5 things that we talked about, when you can stay in the present, when you can forgive, when you can let go of fear, when you can, what's my other thing I said? State your expectations. And when you can get out of past patterns, you can work your way through situations of new hurt in the present. Using these 5 things can help us get through it and grow through it. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be healed. Kelly Price sang it best, a healing for my soul. I'm going to get it. I want you to get it. Now, next week, I think we'll probably talk about guilt wounds. Let's talk about that next week. Nevertheless, I got to get out of here. It's Friday. Got a lot of things to do. Got to clean up. Unload the dishwasher and stuff like that. Nevertheless, I'm going to get to my Friday. I want you to have an awesome, awesome day. And I'm out. Love you guys.